I was born in a parish with moral traditions in the Diocese of Vinh. Summer days in my childhood were associated with voices from catechism classes, and the church bell at sunsets. I have been dreaming of becoming a religious sister since I was a child. My dream got bigger day by day, until I graduated from high school, when I decided to look for a suitable religious congregation for myself. Thanks to the spiritual director recommendation, I went to Congregation of the Sisters of the Child Jesus. The congregation was founded in France by Mother Reine in 1859, based on the devotion of Christianity education, especially caring for teenagers, patients, and the poor in unlucky areas. I didn't actually believe in my decision, and was afraid before entering the congregation. I wasn't afraid if the congregation's devotion was suitable to me, or if I was able to adapt to an active community. What made me flinch was Japanese culture. It was a fact that the congregation in Vietnam was built and developed by Japanese sisters. People in the homeland of Sakura were said to be severe, strict, and unapproachable. It seemed to be a totally different culture from Vietnam's, and opposite to what I dreamt about the people who would raise me up in my consecrated life. I flinched from these thoughts. I pondered so much on this, I got trouble. I didn't know what to do. However, I kept on praying, and suddenly deep in my heart, I felt at peace and confident. So I decided to join in this congregation. It was my early days in the convent. I always feel staring watchful eyes of the sisters around me. I was thinking hesitantly that information of Japanese people I have heard is right. My little faith dropped down badly. My mind was overwhelmed with embarrassment and regret. Indeed, to make a real decision to continue discerning one's religious vocation is not easy for those young teen as I am. I was worried and afraid that my vocation would be interrupted, so I thought and prayed more those days. I confided more to God, who called me to be His bride. After all, I gained the official admission into the congregation. 1 week, then 2 weeks elapsed. 1 month, then 2 months passed far faster than I expected. Up to now, I have been in the congregation for almost 2 years. The longer I stay here, the more I love the congregation's devotion and people. Despite that impression on my very first days, I have been happy living here. What I initially thought about Japanese, which had been told by others, were dictated by feeling. Therefore, I realized I was wrong after 2 years living together with the sisters. My initial thoughts about Japanese were completely reversed. I was conquered by their training and mistake-fixing manner, as well as their living styles with clear discipline, goals, will, responsible spirit, and inquiring mind. Before entering the consecrated life, I believed that the obvious congregation between superiors and inferiors should be strictly kept here. For instance, superior and aspirants would sit at different tables when taking a meal. However, that rule wasn't performed in this community. There was no discrimination in meals. Even it got hard sometimes when countrymen wanted to sit together. Due to this, I was no longer shy when talking to the sisters. Moreover, to be friendlier and closer, we often called them Mother. This made me feel like home here. There were some simple things here impressed me deeply, such as commenting on others' mistakes. The sisters are delicate, especially Mother Superior. I had no feeling of being warned or taught with the authority of the Superior. Conversely, she made me delighted to receive the experience from her consecrated path. Before commenting, she often said, "I am not complaining, but sharing with you my experience as a predecessor, who used to make the same mistakes on my early days, with much hope that you can be more mature in your consecrated path." Sweetness always pervaded from her words. She used not only one, but many other warmly different ways to encourage us as well. There were some times when I made silly mistakes like breaking a glass, then I got worried finding her to shyly apologize. Will she scold me? Will she punish me? I turned out to be unafraid when meeting Mother Superior due to her joke. With her little Vietnamese, she surprised me. Are you eating on the sly because of being hungry? Her spontaneous gaiety of manner made me burst out laughing and forget about my mistake. Then she encouraged me, it's okay. Just be careful next time. I never hid any of my mistakes, because I knew I would always find peace when confessing to her. It cannot be denied that Japanese are strict. They require themselves to keep the discipline, or to be on time. Nevertheless, it's just a part of truth. They are strict to themselves, but extremely generous to others. They respect others' privacy. The sisters are also large-hearted to provide us with necessities. They are willing to sacrifice without calculation. Thus, it is not completely suitable to use the word severe for the people from the land of the rising sun. It's just a matter of discipline. After 2 years of living and experiencing in this congregation, I'm aware that discipline, together with generosity, is greatly important in a community, especially in a religious life of consecrating and serving. Most of the sisters in my community are the older. However, I didn't think I were living with old, slow people, because their youthful spirit makes me feel like I'm with my peers, or siblings. The sisters always made fun and amusing jokes for everyone. Therefore, every time they returned to Japan, I missed and expected them return to Vietnam soon, even though such a short time. This youthful spirit isn't only felt by us, but also spread to our frequent visitors. They all told each other, the sisters are so cute. I'm so glad to live with them. Through this experience I have learned many interesting things. That our proper manner, walking, laughing, kindly correcting and reminding others, respectful, disciplined and especially missionary spirit. Even though they got old, but they dedicated themselves and volunteered to Vietnam, trying to develop the congregation and seeking vocation. The inquiring mind is also a virtue that I admire entering the community. I faced difficulties while learning Japanese. Sometimes I felt depressed and tired. But when looking at the sisters, all of them are old. They are even over 80 years old, but still determined to learn Vietnamese. They gave me strong motivation and helped me how to live a better life. Furthermore, have you heard about the Japanese scientific life? This is undeniable. The community schedule is very reasonable. Our daily meal are guaranteed nutritious too. The active community like us, the physical is also an important priority besides psychology and spiritual life. The facilities of our community are also very spacious and full. There are many other things in the community, which I have to change my previous thoughts about Japanese people. After 2 years living in a religious congregation, I learned a valuable lesson, that I should not evaluate everything from only one side. But I have to experience things myself, then make my own judgments. Don't rely on prejudice, never judge someone's or group's character based on the words of another. I thank God for the many gifts He has given me, especially the gift of His calling, and brought me into the congregation of the Sisters of the Child Jesus. Through the community, I may be growing up and able to serve others, especially I got closer to God. Hey friends! I am very happy to live with Japanese sisters now. They have given me a new perspective and they lifted me in the consecrated life. I have lived and experienced with all my heart and mind. How about you? Those who intend to dedicate yourselves to the Lord. You want to become the bride of Christ. Ye fear the difference in culture and language. The congregation of the Sisters of the Child Jesus will be a great choice impressive. Come and see.